I just want to invest in people that really want to be the best that they can be.
Hello, everyone. It's Todd Scrima and Robyn LaVassaur. We are doing a monthly podcast we do for loan officers. So if you're a retail loan officer or broker, this is for you. And today's topic is super juicy. It's called, Why Do I Only Have 4 Accounts? I'm going to explain that in a second. Jimmy Reed is not with us today. He is ill. And Robyn and I are super busy. We're like, we got to do it without our buddy Jim. Here's Robyn and I and Jim, we do a lot of coaching, and I do it inside the industry and outside the industry, and we all do. So I'm coaching a group. There's about 30 people on this call, and we go through, how many accounts do you have? And our definition of an account is a realtor or builder or someone like that sent you 4 or more closed loans in the last 12 months. Okay? So that's our definition of an account. You closed 4 loans with them. So I go around the horn. One guy closed 18 loans, and he had 13 accounts. Another guy had 12 accounts, closed 11 loans. Another person had 8 accounts and closed 9 loans. And then after that, it kind of dropped off a cliff. Everyone else on the call, the other 28 people or so, had anywhere from 0 to 5 accounts that sent them business. And I said, wait, time out. Let me get this straight. So you've been in the business. These are all experienced loan officers, 10, 20-year loan officers. I said, you've been in the business 10 years, and you have 4 people that send you business, or 3 people that send you regular business. And my point was, our industry is broken on this subject. You wouldn't go to a pharmaceutical sales rep and say, how many accounts you got? They would say 56. When I was a corporate salesperson, I had 65 accounts that I called on every week or every other week. I had accounts. So we got into this discussion. Big picture, I think the problem is, so let me say a story. Robyn is very happily married to her great husband, John, who's a good friend of mine. But say she wasn't, and we're both single. And we went out on a date. And I called her the next week. I thought it went great. And she said, I don't care to see you again. Robyn, what would be the obvious problem?
You weren't aware of it? You thought it went great? Like you assumed that things were good?
Yeah, I could assume that things went good, but at the end of the day, if a single woman doesn't want to date a man again and they had a date, she doesn't see value in you.
And
She's just like, I just wasn't that impressed. You got kind of negative about your ex-wife. It seems like you never see your kids. Sounds like your job's kind of rocky. Whatever her reasons were, she didn't like me. There was not enough value for a second date.
Yes.
And that's the world that most loan officers live in, and they've got no clue.
Mm-hmm.
No clue.
It's so
Now,
true.
let me reverse the situation. And let's say that I met with a realtor, and I'm like, I actually just did this on a coaching call. We did a live 2-step close. So we pretended that the lady that I was doing it with was a realtor, and she closed 25 deals, and I did the 2-step close, and she wanted to get to 35 deals. And I'm like, hey, no matter what, we're getting to 35 deals, right? And that was part of the role play. And we talked about it afterwards. Like, well, I felt like you really cared about my business. Like you really wanted to help me. And all those things that you listed out, that you elicited from me, and you solved every single one, I now see you as making me money. And we don't do that in mortgage. We don't attract people well. Mm-hmm. We don't sell that often.
Okay.
And because of that, you might get a deal and then you never see them again. So it's like the first date. And that happens constantly in our business, and we have no awareness. We think we're doing a good job. I talk to loan officers all the time. They're like, I had a great first meeting, and then I followed up with them and no leads. They won't meet with me. They won't return my call. I'm like, because you're not that hot. They didn't think that you didn't impress them.
Yeah.
But yet we get defensive. Don't they know I'm a good loan officer? I've been doing this 9 years. You know, I closed a loan for them in 17 days. Don't they appreciate me?
Yeah.
And they're asking all the wrong questions, and they're not making any sort of impact on the person's business. And then they wonder why the person leaves. They wonder why the person doesn't engage. They wonder why they use the next loan officer. So you have 4 accounts. because you're not doing it right. That's the simple truth. You're not doing it right. And I would say 95% of loan officers don't do it right. And that's why they're closing 2, 3, 4 loans a month, because they're not doing it right. So if I seem kind of fired up, it's because I just got off these 3 calls today. Let me tell you another issue. And this was consistent I coached about 50 people today. And their only assignment in these 3 groups was to make 10 calls out to get 2 appointments every day. Every day. I had 2 people out of 50 do it. I'm like, let me get this straight. You want to make more money, but you don't even go out and see people. You don't, like, seeing 2 people a day for 15, 20, 30 minutes apiece and having a very constructive business meeting and bringing value to them, and they don't do it. And I'm just telling you, I'm fired up because I think people do it wrong. We're obviously doing it. You can't work 160 hours or 2,000 hours a year and have 3 people send you business. You're doing it wrong.
Well, you're doing it wrong if you're not doing it at all. So let's start there, because a ton of people just aren't doing it all. And you just acknowledge that, right? And that's a huge issue. And then, and maybe this is part of why they're not doing it, because they're not getting the result. And so they don't believe they'll get the result, but they're not acknowledging that maybe if they did it a different way, they would get the result. And that's what you're saying, right? Like, you guys are doing it wrong. And I couldn't agree with you more. And I'm a walking, talking, and I think you are too, Todd. I think that, as much as you and I are actively originating right this minute, at the end of the day, I'm still helping LOs land accounts and relationships, if you will. And I think you are too, actively in the field. And the bottom line is, it's insane to me. And this is no different than what the real estate industry is going to go through with all of the NAR and everything else. Like, why do we not only understand, work on, and know our own value, but then how are we not able to articulate? Like, imagine going to lunch with a financial advisor, and as all you guys talk about is your kids, your life, a little bit of dating, maybe some sports. Hey, really good to see you. That was a great lunch. Yep, call me if you need anything. Let's get together again soon. How many realtor meetings do you think actually go just like that?
90% of them. And I would say that is like eating popcorn for dinner.
Yeah. And all of a sudden, they call you back a month later. They haven't really heard from you. Maybe you send a text or an email or invite them to something, but really no real communication. And next thing you know, they try to get a hold of you again and they go, hey, we should get together again. And you're slammed busy. Even though you really like me, right? We had a great lunch. Everything was good. You want to go chit chat again for an hour? No, it's the last thing on any of our list, right? Like, it's especially during our business hours. And I think that's which to me, that doesn't feel emotional, but I think in a really weird way. And you really taught me this, Todd. And I will tell you guys, if you're listening, Todd, if you remember, and I think you probably do, I'm the queen of buddy selling. I was so caught up in buddy selling. And I'm just charming enough, and I'm just funny enough that I got just enough accounts to run just a good enough, if you will, roller coaster of a business, right? Because at least people liked me. But if they found somebody else who could like them back, and that was the whole social, oh, that person got to come to my baby shower. Oh, that person was able to do that open house with me. Oh, that person brought me a cup of coffee. Man, my likability factor fell in as quickly as someone else pursued them that was also likable. And I didn't address that with myself for a very, very, very long time. And when I shifted and threw the likability to a certain degree out the window and went straight for a value-driven relationship that was really surrounded around, let's just say it like it is, making money while serving our clients at a high level. And making money means both ways. The realtor making their money, me making my money, and us making more money by working together. My entire business transformed. And you know what's really funny? That I didn't realize? My happiness transformed. All of it. Because the amount of pressure to try to be, quote unquote, a caring friend, if you will, to massive amounts of people when we can barely call back our own brother or sister or go have a coffee date with our own mom and dad was insurmountable to me. It wasn't, I couldn't scale it. I couldn't keep up with it, right? Like it was when people started saying, hey, this is a business relationship, but we also really like each other and we know some personal stuff at this point, but this is business at the end of the day. My entire life got easier in the business world. And I think that, so when you have 4 accounts and they really are up and down, and let's be honest, out of all the loan officers, I coached a bunch of realtors. Now I'm going to get fired up with you. I coached a bunch of realtors in Chicago recently and also a huge group in Tennessee. Both of them, the entire rooms, basically, Todd, I said, how many of you actually challenge a client if they already come to you pre-approved with a lender? Maybe 2 or 3 in the entire room. So you're talking 100-person room and 175-person room, and I'm not exaggerating, which says even if you have 4 in your mind accounts, how good are they truly at just all their business comes to you? If you're lucky, your pull through with an agent is 50, 60% of all of their deals. If you're lucky.
Yeah, so let's get granular because I want to tell 2 stories about 2 loan officers. So the first one is a very dear friend of mine. 25 years he's worked for me. And he gets in a slump through this market. I'm talking a slump like you've never seen a slump. I'm talking a 23-year top producer going down to 1 or 2 loans a month.
Oh, I think there's a lot of people that have seen those slumps this last 2 years.
But hold on. So this guy, he says, Bud, I got to meet with you. Like I'm checking out. I'm worried about the guy. And he says, hey, I need to meet with you and Jim. So he comes in. First thing, guy's down 30 pounds and wearing a suit and tie. I'm like, Bud, you look great. So we sit down in the conference room. He says, I need this program. I said, what's going on? He says, I'm attacking this office, 200 agents. I need this program. I said, what problem are you trying to solve? He says, Todd, they need to get offers accepted. Like they'll, multiple offer situations. I said, well, what are your thoughts? He says, I want to offer a $7,500 guarantee if we don't close on time. I want to offer $200 per diem. I want to do appraisal gap coverage. And there was one other thing. We call it the Summit Strong program. So we developed this flyer in a couple of days. He starts selling it. And he is fired up. He texts me. I talked to him this morning. He texts me about 4 times a week since then. This has been about a month now. He's like, got another deal on Summit Strong. And it's like, of course, there's fine print. The client's got to get pre-approved in advance.
Yeah.
And he said, but he sells this program with passion to the agents. He's like, hey, you have to do this so that we get the offer accepted. It's like, makes him like a cash deal. It guarantees the seller a bunch of money. Then he talks the same way to the buyers. And he's on fire. And he's like, got another deal. Told me this morning, he got 2 more deals. And the realtors are buying in. So the value he's offering is I've got a way to get your offers accepted. It's a very simple program. Anyone could do it. We just put it in writing, and he's selling it like hotcakes. And he's on fire. Now, second story. This kid goes through a program I got called Loan Officer University. It's a 4-month program to teach brand new loan officers the business, how to sell, how to get licensed, how to understand products, all that stuff. So he goes through this program. He ends up going to work for a branch in one of our branches in Atlanta. I see the kid last month. His name's Eric. I call him a kid. He's like 28 years old. He originated 12 loans disclosed, and he closed 7. He got a $24,000 paycheck, and he is like flying high. So I call him. I'm like, Bud, what are you doing? He said, I'm running the play, boss. I said, what play is that? The play you drilled into my head for 4 months. I said, okay, tell me the play. He says, call 10 people a day with a great offer, get 2 appointments, master the 2-step close, you'll get 20% of them. And look for a loan app every single day of my life. I said, yes, those are the 3 plays that we run. Originated 12 loans, closed 7. I said, Bud, just so you know, there's 20 of your loan officers didn't originate 12 loans. Like 99% of them. So the playbook works, but he's adding value and he's doing the work.
Yes.
In other words, when you're in a commoditized environment like we are in mortgage, you're supposed to close on time. That doesn't make you special.
Nope.
You're supposed to close a loan in 15 days sometimes. That doesn't make you special.
Uh-huh.
You're supposed to close smooth. That doesn't make you special. You're supposed to be a professional and communicate. That doesn't make you special.
Uh-huh.
All the things that we thought made us special don't work anymore. You got to offer more value. I'll give you an example of a context outside of mortgage. Tesla made up 10% of all car sales in the state of California where I live last year. 10%. That's a dominant number. Okay? Now, like Tesla, don't like Tesla, doesn't matter. First of all, people call it a Tesla. They don't call it an electric car. So that's one thing. The car's super fast. It's faster than a Ferrari. That appeals to the men. The big computer console, which is just a big screen, appeals to the geekies, right? The techies. The car will talk to you. Like if you play music and you press a certain button, it like doors go up and down and it sings Merry Christmas and it's kind of cute. It's like an extra, well, that's cute. Now they got a new thing where the car, you press a button and it farts at people on the street. I know that's gross, but I was in an Uber and it farted at someone and it just makes you chuckle, okay? And it makes the person on the street chuckle. So they're adding more of that, and people like how they look. It looks nicer than the Ford Fusion.
Yes.
So they just are more appealing. They're offering more value. And because of that, those Teslas sell more, 20, 30% more than the average electric vehicle because they're offering more bells and whistles. They're offering more value.
Yep.
So we got to find out how to do this outside. Like I got one client and he teaches an offer on how to get realtors to sell a deal at every single open house. It works. Now, does it work for every client? No, you don't need every client. You need like 10 accounts to close like 10, 13 loans a month. So you don't need an enormous amount of people. You don't need to chase 60 realtors. I made that same mistake. So knowing what I know today, I would focus on less people and make sure I got real value. If Robyn was my realtor and she did 25 deals and she wanted to close 35, every time I talked to her, I'm like, hey, are we on pace for 35? That's your goal this year. I would have it on my freaking wall. So, Robyn LaVassaur, 35 deals. Hey, Robyn, how we doing on our 35? I know we just got the Smithson contract. Let's get another one.
Yes.
Right? And that little motivation, that little tracking may be enough where she's like, I got to use that guy. He's powerful to me. He's my business partner.
Yeah.
And people aren't doing it. They're like, I take loan apps. A freaking monkey can take a loan app. You can do a POS and press a button and spits out an approval. So it's not the technical side anymore. Yes, you got to know that stuff, but that's your job. So you got to offer more value to people. That's how you're going to win. And yes, you got to actually make sales calls.
Listen, I know what our next podcast is on, Todd. It's going to be on. I said our next podcast is going to be on how to offer more value, what to say, how to follow up, what to actually do in the day-to-day, and then actually making the sales calls. I feel like we've broken this whole thing down for the next couple months. Or you can just come join Summit, right? And be part of the crew and learn it every week on Friday and in the coaching program.
So I'll give you an example. This is the first role play is how most loan officers act. So this is an actual person that I'm coaching, and he speaks Spanish.
Uh-huh.
So I said, well, make me a sales call. So he says to me, hey, Todd, I know you speak Spanish. I'm Todd over at Summit Funding. I speak Spanish too. Let's get together for lunch. That's what he said. I said, okay, let's reverse the role play. And he said, okay, so I'll use Robyn. Robyn is a Spanish-speaking realtor. I speak Spanish. Uh-huh. Hey, Robyn, it's Todd over here at Summit Funding. Hey, listen, I called you because I saw you were top 1% in the county. I'm embarrassed not calling you until now. I've been doing loans here for 20 years, and you're one of the best realtors in town. So I'm calling you because I am really, really good at, and I specialize in helping realtors like you that speak Spanish. About 30% of your clients need a foreign national loan or an I-10 type of loan because they don't have a social. I'm a specialist in that. We underwrite them, we process them, we securitize them ourselves, we close them in 30 days. Now, I know most companies don't. I specialize in them. I want to meet with you for 15 minutes and show you exactly what I do so that I can get you at least another deal a month. Now your average commission is about $10,000. So that's another 120 grand a year in your pocket. Give me 15 minutes and I'll make you another 120 grand. How about Tuesday at 3 o'clock or Wednesday at 3 o'clock? I'll come to your office. What do you say?
Yes.
And about 20% of people say yes.
Yep.
And then I show up. And so he started doing this I-10 offer. That's it. That's all he does. He got 18 appointments last week. 18 appointments. He's like, Todd, I got 8 leads in 2 days from these people. And I think I'm going to put 3 of them together. I said, okay, do the math. That's like 12 grand, 15 grand. And you just did it for a week. Imagine doing it forever. You would make 500, 600, 800 grand a year. Because you're offering something of value and you're excited about it. And you believe in it. But people like, no, most people, Robyn, you walk into them, if they were a restaurant, if the loan officer was a restaurant, it would go something like this. Hey, Robyn, welcome to my restaurant. Listen, I got some hamburger back there. I can whip a hamburger. I think I could make some Chinese food back there. And I've got some fish. It's only about a week old. I could whip up some sushi. And what it does to the client is it confuses them.
Yes.
It repels them instead of attracts them.
Yes.
And so some of this is attraction. Some of it is doing the sales calls. Some of it's learning a script. Like I do role plays with these loan officers. And I swear to God, guys, and I'm not trying to shame anyone, but Jesus, they're horrible. They've been doing loans for 20 years. They can't even make a sales call. And they're like, I'm nervous. I said, bud, a pro golfer hits a golf ball in front of 5,000 people. He's nervous, and he still hits that golf ball 300 yards.
Yeah.
So I understand what you're saying, but if you did it over and over again, you would know how to do it off the top of your mind. It's no big deal.
Yes.
So
listen, we're way over time, Mr. Scrima.
Sorry. We got to wrap up, guys. If you want some examples, if you're a loan officer, you want some examples of some of these offers and scripts, shoot me a text. I'll text them to you and start brainstorming with you so you can get some ideas. I'm going to give you my cell phone. Do not call me. I'm not asking you to call me. Just text me or voice text me.
Well, call if you want to come aboard Summit. Otherwise, send a text, okay?
Yeah. Well, I do this, and I have a lot of people reach out to me. It's no big deal. I probably get 20 texts a day from people I don't know. I help them any way I can because that's what we're supposed to do as human beings. So if you want to text me, I'll send you some of this stuff. My cell phone number is 916-769-9031. 916-769-9031. I'll just give it to you for free. And if it helps you do another 4 or 5 loans a month, God bless you. I think that's all. Okay, that's what we're here to do is be human. Okay, thank you, Robyn. I appreciate you. Bye, loan officers. Go sell, please. Go sell. Bye, guys.